So the government of New York does not have the money to go after violent criminals, but they have the resources to turn innocent people into criminals. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm referring to the case of viral TikTok sensation, Peanut the Squirrel. This squirrel had over 3 million followers on all platforms and seemed to do nothing but bring everyone a little bit of happiness. What has happened to this squirrel? Well, the state of New York deemed him unfit to live and came into the man's home, Mark Longo, the owner of a animal sanctuary in upstate New York. They raided his home and took the squirrel in to euthanize him, along with a raccoon named Fred. Now, this is disgusting. Who does the state of New York think they are, that they can come into a man's home and take his pet squirrel and kill it? They said they killed it because they claimed that the squirrel may have rabies and that he bit one of the officers. Now, according to Mark, the officers all put gloves on before they even entered the home. And these gloves were thick enough that an eagle could land on them. So I don't think they're in any danger of getting rabies. Mark also said that if either of the animals had rabies, he would have long had it by now. But once they entered his home, these law enforcement officers began to question Mark about whether he had any cameras in his home, whether he had any sort of things they needed to know about. And it seems like that they just used these animals as an excuse to raid his home because they started asking questions about Mark's wife's immigration status. Mark's wife has connections to Germany. That's where her ancestry is. What concern is it to these people about Mark's wife's immigration status? And who the hell do these judges think they are that they could sign off on this and make a criminal out of an innocent person who is running an animal sanctuary? And he couldn't even go to his own bathroom without a police escort. I want you to listen to some footage I found from TMZ about Mark's plight, and then we'll continue talking about it. Take a listen to this.
We just learned that they have euthanized Peanut.
And the raccoon as well.
And the raccoon as well. I am so sorry. This must be really difficult for you.
It not only tears my family apart, but Peanut was the cornerstone of our nonprofit animal rescue. And 10 to 12 DEC officers raided my house as if I was a drug dealer. I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers. He did every news station around the world. He's helped people. He's helped kids gather joy. And then we started a nonprofit animal rescue called Peanut's Freedom Farm to help animals like Peanut fight a good fight when they're in a neglected case or they're sitting in a slaughter auction. and he was the cornerstone of our life and our organization. We used his platform to help raise money for the 300 animals we have at our sanctuary.
Now, I don't know about you, but I've got a lot of questions. Who told state police about Peanut the squirrel? Why are they not doing better things with their time and resources? Why are they criminalizing an innocent American for choosing to run a animal conservation farm on his own private property? This is America. This is a clear case of a violation of his private property rights. And this should outrage every single American. But what has the media done? They want to make this into a political issue and say that it's the far right that's taking up for Peanut the squirrel. No, this is not a case of right versus left. This is a case of an abuse of state power. And who was the person that called the police in the first place? This little squirrel seems to have done nothing but give people a little bit of happiness. And the man had tried, after he took care of Peanut, to release him out in the wild, but he didn't have the skills to be able to survive in the wild, so he took him in his own home. And he took him up in the first place because Peanut's mother was run over by a car. And then you want to take him away after he applies for a state permit and was in the waiting to be able to keep Peanut as a pet. This is ridiculous. And this should not happen in America. It's ridiculous that state police don't have better things to do with their time and resources than to criminalize Americans for doing what they want to do on their own private property. You shouldn't have to have a permit to keep a squirrel and take care of a squirrel. It's disgusting to me that the people who signed off on this and the police who confiscated this man's private property will probably get away with it. This is an abuse of power and authority. They shouldn't be doing this. They should be going after violent criminals instead of making criminals out of innocent people just trying to mind their own business. If you agree with me that this is a disgusting abuse of power, please do me a favor. Please share this video. Please like it and subscribe to my channel for more content because it helps grow and expand the channel. I want more people to see that there's a problem in law enforcement today, and it makes it harder for people who are trying to do the right thing and trying to serve and protect. But we have a clear problem with the law enforcement community that want to criminalize people for doing what they want to on their own private property. And it's disgusting that in a country that was founded on the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and founded around private property rights, that these abuses are happening. So please help me get this message out so more people can see it.